Welcome back to the Centered on Buffalo podcast. This week, we're joined by former Seahawks, Giants, Lions wide receiver, good buddy of mine, Golden Tate. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
It's good to be back on, man. How you been?
I'm all good, man. I figured I'd rep that troubadour hat for you. I know you're living that troubadour life down there in Nashville. How's it going down there in Nashville now?
Man, it's good, man. We made the move permanently like 5 months ago. We left California, San Diego, which was hard to leave, but now that we're here, I'm loving it, man.
So Bills heading to Seahawks this weekend. Geno Smith is leading the league in passing yards, and he's one of those dudes that it almost feels like franchises don't want to commit to him, but he produces. And through 7 games this season, through 7 weeks of the season, he's leading the league in passing yards. Do you feel like he is the long-term answer in Seattle at quarterback?
I think he'll do. I don't think he's a long-term answer personally, but if you just look at the timeline of the Seattle Seahawks over the years, like no matter who the quarterback is, they've always been good enough, right? I think he's doing what he needs to do. They have a really good run game. They have some really good receivers, some veteran receivers. Unfortunately, DK is going to be sidelined, which a lot of us are anxious to see like how that's going to affect everything.
Right.
Hopefully, we see a lot more usage out of JSN. Tyler Lockett, who's always just there. As he ages, he just continues just to be there, serviceable, be in the right place at the right time, make plays. But we're going to need some guys like Bobo to step up and make a few more plays with big body DK out for who knows how long.
Yeah. Is DK athlete? Is DK Metcalf? Is he the best like athlete, like specimen in the NFL right now?
Yes. Looking at him, he looks like a Greek god.
Right.
And then you watch someone of that size be able to run that fast with that stride length. It's like how were you gifted all of this? But I'll tell you who else gives him a pretty good run for his money is King Henry.
Oh yeah,
like that guy. Like watch him last night was like, how are you this big and able to separate the way you are and be able to run this way? So between those two guys, I think it's pretty close.
And after watching Myles Garrett play basketball in some of those celebrity basketball games, I might throw him in there as well. I mean, that dude's 290 pounds, can get up and cram, flies off the edge. If I was playing tackle, I wouldn't be dying to go face that dude. All right, speaking of quarterbacks, we talked about Geno. What do you think about your boy Russ in Pittsburgh?
I know all eyes are on him, and we know that Russ loves to show up big on primetime games, and he did exactly that. We all knew that Tom was going to put out a winning product year in and year out. I mean, he's never had a losing season, so why would this year be the one? So I was not expecting Russell to come out and make some of the throws with confidence that he did, but man, he handled business. He led that team, and I mean, they beat up on them boys.
We'll give a quick shout out to Prime. Check out their new collaborations with Aaron Judge, the WWE, Kevin Durant. Those are always a big hit in our household. We'll make sure we send some Prime down for the Tate crew down in Nashville. All right, so you were with the Lions calling preseason games this year. Are the Lions the team to beat in the NFC this year?
They have peaked at this point, and they are rolling, and I just hope they continue to roll. But you know how it is. It's all about getting hot at the right time. Hopefully they don't cool off anytime soon. But yes, they are the team definitely to beat in NFC. I don't think it's even really close at this very moment. I think they are by far the best team. And I know I was really worried how they were going to look once they lost Big Hutch. But they did not miss a beat. They have a bunch of young talent on that team and a bunch of guys that are just absolutely bought in, and it shows. And, I love just saying it randomly, Jared Goff.
Talk about a career resurgence. I mean, his career trajectory from like being a bust to then making a Super Bowl to getting traded and then what he's done in Detroit. I mean, I root for him. I've met him a few times. And he's always been awesome with me. So I root for him from afar, which is easy to do when it's an NFC team. And, I'm with the Bills. So
Right.
I root for Jared Goff, and I'm excited to see him doing well. And I like Dan Campbell. Like as an offensive lineman, I feel like everybody probably would want to play for him, but especially as an offensive lineman, those guys gotta love Dan Campbell there, right?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a player coach, but he's also a guy who actually played the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important, and that's not to be lost. Is like, man, he knows like how my body's feeling because he's been there. He knows, he can sense when it's time to take a break or to ramp it up a little bit or turn it down a little bit. He knows how to get the whole locker room ready for a big game. And, because he's been in those moments, he's had every emotion that we've had as players at some point. And so he's able to be himself, which is, he's not changing for anyone. Like, I mean, he is who he is decorated, and he is who he sells himself to be, and guys love that. I mean, on
Right.
top of that, you're putting a good product out there. You're drafting well. He's got a great support system from Brad Holmes and the Ford family, and he just does not give a crap about what people outside of that locker room really think of him, and that's
Yeah,
good.
I loved his quote after the Cowboys game when they said, everyone's saying it's classless that you ran up the score. He said, "Well, the last time I was called classless, I was drinking wine straight out of the bottle. So yeah, I've been called
So
that
good.
before." I'm like, and it just shows like a certain level of humility too. Like I love how he gets up there, he cries, he wears it all on his sleeve. Like he's a guy's guy, and he's got that locker room. You could tell, and it's fun to watch. Let's take a moment to hear from one of our sponsors, and that's Dano's Seasoning. Let Dano's take your tailgates this football season to a Pro Bowl level with their all natural, no sugar seasonings. And you got to check out their new jalapeno seasoning. This might be one of my favorites of the entire lineup. Go get you some at danosseasoning.com. Check out the link in the show notes. Yum, yum, get you some. All right, so Josh Allen was voted in the preseason as the most overrated player in the NFL, which I'm like, I mean, I don't get that, but it is what it is. What's your thoughts on Josh Allen as a player?
My thoughts on Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is a spectacular athlete. I think he has one of the strongest, if not the strongest, arms in football. I think he can make every throw. I think he runs the ball like a running back. I think up until this year, I think a lot of us question his decision making. I think at times he wanted to be Superman every single time. And that's when the picks started showing up, and a lot of picks started showing up. And I think he learned throughout the year last year that I don't need to be Superman all the time. There's times and places to do that, but not first quarter, with 5 minutes left.
Right.
Let's just hang on to the ball, play the control game because they have a good defense, a very, good defense. They have a good offense, and now they're able to run the ball, which is, nice with James Cook. Um, this year, all eyes, I think, were on him because I think we were all starting to be like, okay, Josh Allen, like, now it's out there that he's overrated. And now everyone's like looking to see if he's overrated. But I think he's proved us that he's not overrated. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that we're 5, 6 games in and he has thrown 0 picks. He's on pace to throw 0 picks this year. And last year around this time, this guy had probably 6 or 7 picks. And so he's gained the trust of the fan base. Obviously, he's been having the trust of the organization, and he's playing the game the right way. So now he's back up top to being, in my opinion, elite. And I always knew he was elite, but now it's like there's no second guessing this, in my opinion.
Right. No, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, through 7 games, you got 15 total touchdowns and 0 interceptions. I mean, obviously, any team in the league is going to take that, but that shows maturity at this stage. And look, early in his career, they didn't have a lot of weapons around him. He had to play Superman. At times when Ken Dorsey was calling the plays prior to the switch to Joe Brady last year, it would be 3rd and 10, and everyone's running deep down the field. They're bringing a pressure look, and okay, Josh, go make something happen. And I feel like Joe Brady, as offense coordinators, really helped stabilize that as well. Another thing that helps him is they just bring in Amari Cooper. And so you bring Amari Cooper into a receiving room that really struggled against man coverage earlier this season. Used to be no one in the league would play man-to-man defense against Josh Allen because if he takes off and run, everyone's got their back turned. Well, when you're not that worried about the receivers, then you can keep spies and the whole deal. And so let me ask you, as a longtime receiver, you had a veteran like Amari Cooper into that young receiving room. What's a guy like that do to the room?
He elevates it because when a vet guy like that comes into your locker room, he just understands the game a whole different way because he's experienced a lot of things. He's had success. He's very respected because back in Alabama he was nice. His entire career, no matter where he's been, he has been nice. And I don't even know what year he's on, but he's got to be on like year
10,
10, 12 or something like that. And so he's
10.
he's seen a lot of things. And so now you bring Amari Cooper in there with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and also with a young first rounder, Keon Coleman, who has got the sky's the limit for him. And so now you got so much talent. And then Shakir, I like him as well.
He's
I
got a
like
little
him.
Golden Tate in his game.
He
Shakir's got a little
does.
Golden Tate in there with the yards after the catch.
I like it too. I like it a lot. And then you got two tight ends in what Kincaid and Knox,
Yep.
which are, you just have a lot of playmakers. But going back to Amari Cooper, like he's going to be so beneficial to Keon Coleman, and just like throw him on the backside. And when you get one on one, trust that Amari, his releases and his routes are so sweet. I mean, he's bum 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 and gets off the line of scrimmage. He's open before he takes a step because his releases are so good. And so you run one on one, he's gonna tear you up on like a slant or something, some basic route. He's gonna tear you up, and then when you think you got it, he's gonna double move you and go down the sideline. And so I'm so excited, and we saw a hint of it literally just a few days ago. I mean, the man got off a plane like 2 or 3 days ago from the
Right.
trade, dressed up and went crazy. Like had 66 yards and a tutty. I mean, does he even know the playbook yet? But I mean, that just speaks volumes about the guy that they're getting.
And it surprised me that Cleveland would convert his salary to signing bonus before the season, which makes him an easier trade for other teams. Doesn't necessarily help you out, but certainly help the Bills out. I mean, not that he's the same player as Devontae Adams, but you talk about a $14 million difference in cap hit for this year. That's massive. So Bills
Yeah,
fans are pumped up about it. And he had that first drop of the game last week. So they had their first third down. He had a drop, and then he comes back and catches the rest of the balls. But there were some groans in the stands at that point because like the one knock on Amari Cooper was the drops.
yeah,
And one of my favorite things. And look, I'm not going to pretend like I played receiver in the NFL, but when I watch receivers that are confident to play with their own pace. So not everything is just frantic at all times. It's okay. I'm going to set you up. I'm going to get to my spot at the right time, but I might not just I'm 3 steps up the field and I take this angle. And I feel like he has enough creativity. Some of that comes with being a first round draft pick. So you got some standing with the team and you're a 10-year vet now, but I just love the pace that he plays with. So glad to see him have a nice day last week. So, all right. So I see on your social media, you're posting all these betting picks. So give me your expert analysis on this Bills Seahawks matchup this week. Who you like in the game?
because DK is so valuable, and it pains me to say this. I believe I'm rooting for Seattle, point blank in the story. But if I had to put my money down, I got to take Buffalo. They're just you guys are playing too well right now. On top of we're missing one of the best receivers in the league,
Right.
um, who consumes a lot of Geno's passing yards. I gotta go Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. One thing that you travel across the country and then the crowd noise in Seattle that always plays a factor, especially when you're not used to it. The Bills are going to play out there once every 8 years, and the last time they played there, I broke my leg on the goal line, which wasn't very fun. But and what really sucked was it was Monday Night Football, so you fly back through the night, 6 hours back to Buffalo, then head to surgery the next morning. So not super fun. Not fond memories of the stadium, but do you feel like Seattle's the loudest stadium in the league? You played in probably all of them.
When I was there, it was without a doubt the loudest environment I'd ever been a part of. Period. Now I think you know things have changed a tad bit, but yeah, it's definitely when they want to get loud, they get extremely loud. But Josh Allen's played in KC.
Right.
He's in that environment. He's played in Pittsburgh, which are these are all hostile environments. So he'll be fine. I don't worry about that too much with him.
Right. I always say there's a certain threshold of noise in a stadium where once we can hardly communicate in the huddle and we have no communication at the line of scrimmage, no matter how much louder it is, it doesn't really play a factor. We can't communicate anyways. And there's 5 to maybe 10 stadiums like that. And then depending how good they are that year, are they going to get to that level
Mhm.
is what's going to be the effect on the game. Seattle's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
One of
Just watch the
those.
ball. Like all the coaches say, just watch your ball. Watch the ball. You watch the
Right.
ball, you do good.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, brother, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. We'll follow up after the game. We'll check on that betting pick, but I appreciate you coming on.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.